Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 24th installment of the Unfinished Business Podcast and the 10th edition of Tuesday. Tuesday. Thank you very much.
You
Pop
just
shot.
said Tuesday.
Well, that just proves that it really is a Twisted Tuesday if I'm saying Tuesday twice.
Jeez.
But what we can both agree on is that we're both extremely excited for the return of the National Hockey League coming back in early August and or late July with the exhibition games.
Yeah. I'm very excited that they released the schedule already. So yeah, something to look forward to right now.
Sports is definitely on its way up. So like
Yeah.
we did with the NBA, we're going to be doing the postseason preview for all 24 NHL teams that are going to be included in the bubble and the play-in rounds and the round robin draws to see who gets into the playoffs for this upcoming postseason. And we started off with the 2019 NHL Stanley Cup champions, the St. Louis Blues, and we still roll with the Money Malcolm's Money Picks.
Yeah, so my money picks these two guys. I picked multiple guys per team, but for this team I picked two. First I have Jaden Schwartz. So Jaden Schwartz this season, he had 22 goals and 35 assists. Pretty high in the team. Obviously there's a bunch of other guys who were playing good, but Jaden Schwartz I feel like will be an X factor if he keeps this up, keeps his scoring up, then St. Louis will have another chance at a deep run in the playoffs. And another guy would be Braden Shen. And I know everyone's expecting to say Ryan O'Reilly, but Braden Shen is another guy who also scored 25 goals and had 33 assists. So they're both 20 goal scorers this year. And Ryan O'Reilly is that guy. He was getting more assists. He only had 12 goals this season. So these two guys, I feel like Braden Shen and Jaden Schwartz, these guys are the goal scorers of the team. If they keep up their goal scoring, then St. Louis will have a very good shot at keeping it deep, getting that deep run, and hope maybe repeating back to back.
Oh, you heard it here first. Yeah, it can't go unmentioned that Blues went 42, 19, and 10 this season, which was first in the Central. So for any people that thought they would be slowing down after winning the Cup this last season, they're wrong.
Yeah.
I like still rolling with the sleeper picks. I like David Perron, who's got us quietly having a very good season with 25 goals and 35 assists. He got his first Cup with the Penguins, so hopefully, and with St. Louis last season, so hopefully he can rekindle that one back to back. And the captain, Alex Pietrangelo, having 52 points this season in a contract year, which you probably won't see him returning to St. Louis because he's going to command up to $8 or $9 million in salary, and the Blues can't really handle that. But
Yeah.
Petrangelo's having a very solid season and is looking to get paid. And right now, there isn't much players that are saying they're going to opt out for the season as of right now. So no one has seemed to be opting out or still injured for St. Louis, so they're going to be healthy going into this playoff. So what is your reasonable expectations for St. Louis?
I'd say make the conference final. I feel like they have a lot rolling. Their players are doing good. Their goaltending is very good. Like you said, Petrangelo's last season, presumably last season before he hits free agency, so he probably won't stay. So he probably wants make another deep run. If it's not all the way to the Cup, I feel like the conference finals at least would be a good way to end it off in St. Louis for him and for the team after the season they had.
Yeah, just how good they played in the regular season. I think they need to finish in the conference finals or better because, again, there's really been no letdown. And they haven't really lost anybody. Obviously, a huge loss for them was Pat Maroon in the offseason, so they're not going to have him playoff run. Might come up as a sleeper pick later on for a little hint. But, yeah, conference finals seems like a very reasonable expectation to have for St. Louis. Moving now to the Desert Dogs of the NHL, the Arizona Coyotes, who was a surprising record, if you ask me, for a 33-29-8 record, which is good for fifth in Pacific. They get in for the play-in round. So who do you like to be your star-studded players for the Yotes this season?
So for the Yotes this season, I have Clayton Keller as my first guy. So he finished with 17 goals and 27 assists. He's a young guy. He's still developing, and I think he's been playing really good hockey for how young he is. And for this Arizona Coyotes team, who rarely makes the playoffs, so they have a chance at maybe getting into that next round after the qualifying round. Also, Carl Soderberg. Soderberg as well had 17 goals and 18 assists this season. So I think he's been playing good hockey. But really, what stands out to me is their goaltending duo, which is Antti Ranta and Darcy Kemper. And these two, I feel like, just have been playing really good hockey. They haven't been playing like extremely amazing, but when you have Darcy Kemper, his goals against average is below 2.5, which is anything below 2.5 is really good right now, especially in today's age where you're scoring like the games are high scoring nowadays. With all like the restrictions on goalie pads and everything.
Coming from a goalie.
Exactly, coming from the goalie. And then both of them have a good 928 and 921 save percentage, which is very good as well. So if these guys continue to play, I don't know if they'll probably stick with one guy or the other. I think they'll stick with Darcy Kemper for the playoffs, honestly. And if they stick with him, but if he does not perform in like the first game or two, then they can put in Antti Ranta and hopefully he can step up as well. But I like the goaltending duo for this team.
Yeah, you never know. Like there is a scheduled back-to-back for the play-in rounds. So maybe you'll see one or the other play in that back-to-back if they get to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can't not mention two major players for your forward crew there. It's Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
Who got traded there this season, contract year again, so maybe he stays with Arizona. But you can't not discredit how good of a player he has been over his career. And the legend himself, Phil the Thrill Kessel.
Phil the Thrill.
Is also on that team, so possibly, again, more goal scoring. But my sleeper picks I like is Nick Schmaltz by way of the Chicago Blackhawks, which made his way to Arizona. 11 goals, 34 assists, which is good for 45 points. It's not a bad tally if you're a centerman in the league, and as a young centerman as well. Jake Chikrin leads defenseman, in goals with 12, and he's only 21 years old, so he's going to be definitely improving on that as he gets older and matures. And Christian Dvorak, I like as well, 18 goals, 20 assists. And somebody who really is making a breakout season is Connor Garland, who has 22 goals and 17 assists. It's all around good play. Like you said, no player is above 50 points for the Yotes, but it seems like everybody, like there's a huge core of players who are around that 45 to 35 point range. So it's very deep and it's a solid lineup rather than there's a tier. It's all just one big group. Again, no losses. So what would your expectations be for the Yotes in the play-in round if they get?
Who are they playing in the play-in round? I can't remember, but I like my expectations for them, even like regarding whoever they're playing, is that they make it out of the play-in round and make it into that round of 16. I know like it's a lot, but like getting that Arizona team into the playoffs who hadn't been able to make the playoffs for such a long time, I feel like if they get out and go to the playing round and win that one round again to the first round, the round of 16, then that's very good for them and like good for their fan base. They'll see, they're like some fans will be like, okay, there's potential with this team now, and I feel like if they get out of that playing round, then that'll be good for the team.
Yeah, in that playing round, they're going to be playing the Predators.
That'll be a tough one.
Could be, yeah, it could be, but I don't know. I think they're just lucky to be here again. So I think it'll be great to have them win the play-in round. But I think they can. Like Nashville's been pretty wishy-washy this season. They're pretty inconsistent, and their big boys have been playing up to the caliber they should be playing. So maybe Arizona can shock the world like they have been right now. Rick Tocchet's doing a hell of a job there in Arizona. It should be up to the Jack Adams. But yeah, I would like to see them get out of the play-in round for sure. We get now to the other end of the spectrum of the U.S., the Florida Panthers, who have been pushing the Leafs, pushing to get into the top three of the Atlantic Division this whole season, they finished fourth with a 35, 26, and 8 record. So who do you have as your key contributors for the money picks?
Some key contributors for this, my Malcolm Money picks. First one, former Ottawa Senator Mike Hoffman, who had 29 goals and 30 assists. So he's been lighting it up, honestly. In how many in games? 69 nice games.
Yeah. How are you?
Nice. Thanks. Hey, Gronk. Also, I have another name, Evgeny Dadonov, who's had 25 goals and 22 assists. So 2 20-goal scorers who have been pretty good this season. This team, I feel like, is kind of has like a good amount of depth on this team. And with these guys and their goal-scoring abilities, these guys, like I said with St. Louis, if they keep their scoring up, maybe they might make it. Like they're a good team. I don't see them going super far, but they can make maybe win 1 or 2 rounds.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Key sleepers for myself, that Jonathan Huberdeau finally broke out, having a career year, 78 points. Brett Connolly, if anyone's a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, you know Brett Connolly's name, taken first round by the Lightning, having 19 goals this season. So finally get to see him produce for a team. Really hasn't shown his caliber being a first round player, but 19 goals says it well. And I like Frank the Tank Vetrano, who's got 16 goals, 18 assists to go for 34 points. Solid depth player. 16 goals for a third line player is pretty solid. Again, you can't not mention you have Aaron Ekblad on this team.
Yeah.
Keith Yandel coming from Arizona. And you paid somebody $9 million to stop the puck behind your net, and Sergei Bobrovsky. So he's got to show up. He hasn't the best season, like everyone should know. If you follow the NHL really well, he hasn't played up to Vezina quality like he usually has been, especially last year, how good he played for Columbus to beat Tampa Bay. So hopefully he can rekindle that. So with that being said, what do you think they should be in the playoffs?
I think that they should make it out of the qualifying round. Yeah. Who are they playing? Oh, you want you
on the spot here.
You got to try first time. Yo, get the play-in round ready here. Should have been more prepared.
Let me on the spot. They play the New York Islanders in the playoff.
And I think they can beat the New York Islanders. So I think getting out of that play-in round, and then you reseed, right? They're reseeding after each round. Yeah, so you wouldn't know who they're playing next. So yeah, I'd say they'd be playing the number 2 seed, and I feel like if in that round, I feel like that'd be around like Tampa Bay or something. And that Tampa Bay team has a history of choking from last year. So I'm saying they could win 2 rounds this playoffs, but I don't see them going further than that, honestly.
Yeah, I think this year being so unique that there's not going to be any fans. So I think New York, the Islanders at least, are at a severe disadvantage to everybody else because of how loud the Coliseum can get in Long Island, as everybody knows from watching those. I think that was probably the best series in all last year with them in Pittsburgh. I think it was the best series in all the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I think that they're at a severe disadvantage that they don't have their hometown crowd. So maybe, like you said, they can upset and beat the Isles. But yeah, I like to see them get into the round of 16, like you said. Yeah. But next, like you said, you mentioned already the team that upset the ever so powerful Tampa Bay Lightning, the Columbus Blue Jackets, following up another solid campaign with a 33, 22, and 15 record, which was only good for 5th in the Metropolitan, a stacked Metropolitan division this year. Yeah. Who do you like to help boost their chances to get that North Stanley's Cup?
Well, they have no guys, just like the Arizona Coyotes. They didn't have any guys above 50 points this season since the Canadian season, but they're one of the few teams with no players above 50 points. But the 2 players that stand out to me are Pierre-Luc Dubois. So he led the team with 49 points. He had 18 goals, 31 assists. And then Oliver Bjorkstrand, who had 21 goals and 15 assists. So he led the team in goal scoring. So I feel like if you have your leading goal scorer playing up to his capabilities and your top point getter playing up to his capabilities, and you will be able to maybe muster a few wins out here.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Oliver Bjorkstrand's game.
He's pretty good.
Played a hell of an unreal tournament at the World Juniors back in the day in 2016. It's really carried his play. Again, under the radar, how good Bjorkstrand can be. But my sleepers again, Cam Atkinson, who's not really been touched upon for Columbus. Last year had 40 goals, so I think it was pretty hard to back up that amazing season. But this year kind of hindered to an ankle injury. So obviously his numbers are going to be as spectacular as it was last year. So again, I think he can ramp it up in the playoffs. And Boone Jenner. Love Boone Jenner's game. You don't really see much of his style anymore in the NHL because it doesn't really fit today's game. But he's that prototypical power forward, hard hitter, and he plays the PK super, super well. And I don't think we can talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets without mentioning Elvis Merzlikins, who's played absolutely fantastic. Should be up for the Vezina, but that's okay. He's just a great player. But they will be missing Josh Anderson. Like they have most of the year. So they're kind of used to playing without him, but you can't not talk about what he misses, what Josh Anderson brings to the lineup. Again, power forward, and they can snipe the puck real well. So with that being said, again, expectations for them coming into 2020.
So I feel like they sweep the Leafs. I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't think they'll make it out of the first round. I think because
Yeah, thank you. How are you?
The Toronto has such a stacked team. I don't see Toronto sweeping them, but honestly, I don't see it. I don't see them winning that series. Maybe bring it to 5, but still, I think Toronto will win that series against Columbus. So Columbus, if they do get out of the first round, that play-in round, that will be a success for them.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think it's another blessing that they're in this. Even though Nick Foligno has come out and said he's promised his kids that he's coming back with the cup. Pretty far-fetched, but I like his confidence.
Yeah.
Speaking of confidence, my sleeper pick to win the Stanley Cup final was this team that's going to be mentioned right now is the Dallas Stars, which finished 37-24-8, which was good for third in the, again, stacked Central Division. So, again, Malcolm, who do you think is going to be the most prolific player?
Well, first of all, you have Tyler Seguin, who's obviously, I think you can't go without mentioning him on this team, who has 17 goals, 33 assists this season. But one guy that stands out to me, kind of a sleeper, is Denis Gurianov. Gurianov. But he had 20 goals this season, so he was the leading goal scorer and 9 assists. So I feel like if he comes up and starts scoring some goals, then who knows? Because you have a lot of other guys on this team. You have Jamie Benn, Alex Radulov, Joe Pavelski, Mikko Heiskanen, all these guys who are able to score goals. But if you have this guy scoring goals as well, then you're looking for threats. You're going to have a threat in almost every single line. But another thing, since I'm a goalie, I'm going to mention goalies a few times, only when it's really worth mentioning, because I really love talking about goalies. But another duo of goaltending in Ben Bishop and Anton Khudobin have been very good this year. Ben Bishop with a 2.5 goals against average, and Khudobin with a 2.22, and then their save percentage, which is crazy, 920 and 930. Bishop and Khudobin. So I think both of them playing, like you said, you're able to put one guy maybe back to back if you're playing back to back games, right? But so they're third, so they're playing in that the round robin for the top 4. Are they? Yeah, they are. So yeah, they'll be playing. So I don't think they'll have many games where they have to go back to back, but you can even switch it up if Ben Bishop's tired or Khudobin's tired, then you're able to put either guy in, and both of them are playing really, really good hockey this season and great goaltending. So I feel like both of those guys again could make a
I think it's gone without saying that Tyler Seguin kind of had a 15-game goalless drought in between the seasons, so that's why his numbers aren't the best. But sleepers, again, you mentioned already, Joe Pavelski, first season out of San Jose, had a 30-point season. Again, going the decline down his career. So, again, he brings that championship mentality. Oh, I shouldn't say championship mentality because he's never won a cup. But he has made it to the cup final like a lot of these players haven't. I like Rupe Hintz as well, 19 goals, 14 assists. Again, kind of goes unmentioned that he's playing in a market like Dallas. And, again, didn't get much recognition not being from the U.S. or Canada. So, big ups to the kid for having a great season as well. Again, you can't touch upon the defense core that they have with John Klingberg and Miro Heiskanen, like you said. And Corey Perry is also on this team, who brings, again, championship mentality and veteran presence to a pretty young squad. But, again, back-to-back champs, 16-7. Oh, excuse me. Again, expectations for the playoffs for Dallas. I have them winning the cup as a sleeper pick, so I think they can go all the way. But realistically, I like to make in the second round.
Yeah, well, you mean the round of 8,
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, because they automatically get into the second round, basically, technically. But yeah, same thing. I'd see them get into the second round as well. And
move along. Go to the Pittsburgh Penguins now, 40-23-6. Unreal season. Again, only good for third in the Metropolitan Division. So who do you like on this team minus the obvious Sid Crosby?
Yeah, I didn't put him there because that's kind of too obvious. So I have his right-hand man, Evgeny Malkin, up in there, who led the points with 74 points. Led the team in 74 points. So he had 25 goals and 49 assists. Not too shabby. And another guy who was actually second on the team in points, which wasn't expected really, is Brian Rust.
One of my sleeper picks.
Yeah, 27 goals and 29 assists. He was pretty good. He's kind of, I guess you could say he's a sleeper, but he was second on the team with points with 56. So if these guys are both performing as well as Sid the Kid, then I don't know, it's another team we got to look out for, but we'll get into the expectations after your sleepers here.
Okay, so at what point do we stop calling Sid the Kid Sid the Kid?
I don't know. It's just his nickname, man.
You see, he's 31.
He's 31, I know. But like, it's just his nickname. It's stuck. I don't know. I just always think of him as Sid the Kid. Just rolls off the
33.
tongue.
I'm an idiot. He's 32, turning 33.
Yeah, he's an old man now.
I know, like Sid the Walking King. But my sleepers again, he came along in a deadline day deal as former Panthers forward Jared McCann, who's got 14 goals and 21 assists. Solid campaign for me. Again, his playing partner Nick Bukestad has been riddled with injuries. He came along on that trade, so I don't know if he'll be able to play for play-in round. But again, speaking of injuries, you cannot go without mentioning that Jake Gensel is going to be returning for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Craig Crosby's right-hand man in the last couple of seasons, playing alongside him. So I think Sid, alongside every Pittsburgh Penguins fan, is going to be delighted. Shout out Eric Smith, Pittsburgh Penguins fan, your bandwagoner. Is going to be really, really excited, or not, because he was a bandwagon fan, that Jake Gensel is going to be coming back for his team. So what do you think the expectations are for the Penguinos this
Out
season?
in the first round in 5 games.
As in the playing round or as in the round of 16?
The playing round.
Shut up, man.
You know who they're playing.
So I was going to say, for anyone who doesn't really know who they're playing, it's the Montreal Canadiens, the guys, the hat
Boom, boom.
Mr. Malcolm is wearing right now.
Yeah, but I'm not even. I had a dream about it. They're gonna win in 5, and I'm just so. We'll get into the Montreal Canadiens later in the podcast. Obviously, we'll get to them soon. But you sleep. A lot of people are writing that series off like, oh, Pittsburgh in 3 or 4. Oh, it's gonna be easy. No, it will not be easy, and we'll get into why that won't be easy. If they do make it past Montreal, then I do see them making it to, like, their top, like the top I see them is making it to the round of the round of 8, so the second round basically.
Yeah, I think their team's too good not to make it past the play-in round as much as you want to say it.
Well,
I think they're going to make this second round because Chris Letang's on this team as well. You have Matt Murray, who's a bona fide Vezina winner, should be a Vezina winner, stepped in for Marc-Andre Fleury and stole that job from them. Brian Russ, like you mentioned already. Patrick Hornqvist. His team is just too good to not, like, again, 40-23-6 is not to be passed on. So I think maybe Montreal sneaks it. I don't know. We'll see. But that team's too good. We get to our first Canadian team on the list. It's the Calgary Flames, who finished 36-27-7, which was good for third in the Pacific Division. Who do you like on this team to see make a significant impact in the restart?
First of all, I hate to say it because don't like not much about Matthew Tkachuk.
Oh, okay.
He has 23 goals and 38 assists, so he led the team for the Flames. Also, Elias Lindholm. So Elias Lindholm had 29 goals and 25 assists, so he led the team in goals. So, like, if you see the trend here, it's like the top goal scorers. These guys got to perform well. If they continue to keep putting the puck in the back of the net, then their team really has a good chance of making it far, and that's why their team is where they are now.
Yeah, I like sleepers again. I like Andrew Mangiapane. If you don't think he's Italian, you can take it off on his grandma. He's got 17 goals, 15 assists. Again, he's the bottom 6 forward, so to have 30-plus points is pretty solid. And a Flames veteran in Michael Backlund, who's got 16 goals, 29 assists, trying on the re-rise of his career, making that second push. He's always been in the middle of the pack, so nice to see him get into the 40-point plateau. Again, like you keep probably the obvious choices for your money picks as well as you got Johnny Hockey, you got Monahan on his team, Giordano, the reigning Norris Trophy winner, TJ Brody. Hopefully he'll be healthy, up ready to play after that scare he had collapsing. But I think the question mark you have with this team is in goal. Big save David Riddick. I don't know if he can finish off what he did this season. I don't know if he can keep that in the playoffs. And as well, you have Cam Talbot, which, again, if you're an Oilers fan, you know how wishy-washy he can be. But, again, your key losses, the first player to opt out of the 2020 restart was the Flames defenseman Travis Hamonic. He'll be severely missed on that Flames blue line because he's probably the anchor that held it together, him and Giordano. So with him being out, what do you think is the expectations they have for the playoffs? They do play Winnipeg in the play-in round.
So that's going to be a crazy round, like a crazy series, because who knows who's
going to win. And as well,
that.
The exhibition game the Flames play will be against the Edmonton Oilers.
Really?
So we get to see a Battle of Alberta to start it off.
That'll be crazy, but when they're playing Winnipeg, that's going to be like probably the best play-in series, honestly, to watch. That's just going to be crazy to watch. So I don't know, because whoever they play, you don't really know who's going to win that round-robin tournament. Could be either one of the Western teams. And so you can't really predict who they're going to play, but I feel like for them, they got to make it to that first round and beat out the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a very tough series for them to win because of how Winnipeg should be a lot higher than
Mm-hmm.
playing a great team like Calgary in the play-in round. So I think it's gonna be very tough for Calgary to get out of the play-in round. But again, I think a successful season for them to make it into the actual playoffs.
Yeah.
But speaking of successful runs in the playoffs, a team that has not seen much of that in recent years has been the Tampa Bay Lightning, which again have a great record at 43-21-6, which is no surprise for anybody who knows Tampa Bay Lightning how great their regular seasons can be. But that was good for only second the Atlantic behind, obviously, the
Don't
number one
even
team in the
mention.
league, the Boston Bruins. So again, who do you think should be the key contributors for this team with the money picks?
So obviously, I feel like you kind of have to mention him is Nikita Kucherov. So he had 33 goals, 52 assists. He was lighting it up this year like he has for the past few seasons. Another one that points out to me is Brandon Point. He had 25 goals and 39 assists. So he was also lighting it up this year with 64 points. And another kind of sleeper pick is Alex Killorn with 26 goals and 23 assists. Now, so these three guys, they keep putting the puck in the back of the net, playing well together. I know they're not on the same line, but if they're playing well with their teammates and everything and feeding them properly and not choking in the playoffs, then they can make hopefully a deeper run in the playoffs this year than last year.
And Lauren's been on that team for a long time, so hopefully
Yeah.
he can rekindle the love he has for the game and get going and make it past the first round like they usually can't. But sleepers for me, I like we've already mentioned already, former Blue, Patrick Maroon brings again championship mentality to a team that doesn't have much of it, and a winning attitude, which again I think is tough in Tampa Bay because of how much playoffs failures they've had, and toughness, which again they've been lacking. And I like Anthony Cirelli. He's a very solid third-line center. He's going to make a lot of money, I think, in a couple of years somewhere else. It won't be in Tampa Bay because he's way better than the third-line center. 16 goals, 28 assists, kills penalties for you. So and he's got wicked speed. So I love Anthony Cirelli's game. But key losses quite possibly could be the captain, Steven Stamkos, has that lower body injury. If they were in the play-in round, I don't think he'd be playing due to the lower body injury. I don't know if maybe you'll see him in the round robin games or not. I don't know. We don't know yet. But expectations for them for the playoffs, and say this gingerly,
is get to the second round. And
I
I'm
think
not
it
even
needs to be
joking
the
about
cup
that.
final. I think it's the cup final.
Really?
Absolutely. How much playoff failures you've seen with Tampa Bay? Like honestly, like in the 2010s, they were probably the most dominant team in the regular season. For the whole
Yeah.
decade, I would say it was them.
Yeah.
But they made one cup final, I think. One cup final, that was it.
Against
It would have been the Blackhawks.
they played the Black. Yeah, I think you're right. Or was it?
Because that was when Ben Bishop was the goalie.
Yeah.
And he ran into Hedman, and then Patrick Sharp buried an empty
Yeah.
netter.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think that was it. So I think they
That's
played
what
LA once too.
and they played
But
Montreal in that conference
finals?
final. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's I hated that. But yeah, you're
That was
right.
like the last full season Stamkos was healthy, I think.
Yeah, like fully healthy.
Poor guy. But yeah, I think they need to make the cup finals. I think if they don't make it out of this first round, I think John Cooper gets fired.
You think who?
The coach, John Cooper, gets fired.
John Cooper.
If they lose in the first round again, I think he gets fired.
100% they have to change it up some way.
But a team that's kind of surprised to get back into the playoff fold is the aforementioned Chicago Blackhawks, who finished 32-30-8. And just for perspective, they finished last in the Central Division, and they're making it to the play-in round.
Everyone in the Central made that.
Unbelievable.
That's whack.
So, your money picks for the Blackhawks.
Well, first I'm going to name the obvious one is Patty Kane, 33 goals, 51 assists.
Needs to bring back the mullet.
Yeah, if he brings back the mullet, I think they win the cup. And then kind of like a sleeper pick, but he was also the third on the team with points, is Dominic Kubalik. So we had 30 goal scorer and 16 assists. So when you have a 30 goal scorer and he's going in the playoffs, he better continue that goal scoring ability, and he can be a complete X factor if he continues his goal scoring.
Yeah, it's still a sleeper pick from me, but that's okay. But I like a guy who returned back for the Blackhawks, and again, he's a 2-3 time Stanley Cup champion with those Blackhawks. It's Brandon Saad. I available on Brandon Saad 2.0 because he's kind of brought back the goal scoring. With 21 goals this season, was not known as a goal scorer in his earlier days in Chicago, killing penalties and playing that defensive forward role, But you kind of didn't see much production like you would think of for one Alex DeBrincat. Had a solid rookie season. Didn't really follow it up with a very didn't play very well this sophomore season. Maybe chalk it up through the sophomore slump, but you never know. Alex Nylander quietly having a good season as well, but this is his first full season in the Bigs, so he's got 16 goals, so we can't really knock him for that. His first full season in the Bigs, but expectations for them, I'm just saying I'm just happy to be here, so I don't know if they can pull off an upset or not, but they could be. They do play Edmonton in the play-in round, excuse me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like it's just like a blessing that they're in there, because you're finished last in your division. You're not expecting to make the playoffs, but you are playing Edmonton. Edmonton's a very good team as well. We'll get to them in two teams here, but I feel like the same way. Like the fact that they made it here into the qualifying round, they get out of the qualifying round, that would be a huge success.
Absolutely, but you can't sleep on the players that they have because they haven't really lost that core. That's won them 3 Stanley Cups, like Jonathan Toews, like said, Patrick Kane, Duncan Keith, Brent Seabrook, and
Duncan Keith is still playing.
Absolutely, he's a bona fide Hall of Famer if you ask me. Brent
Yeah,
Seabrook again on this team, and the man between the pipes is still there, Corey Crawford.
underrated goaltender.
Speaking of underrated, I think this team is very underrated if you ask anybody. That's not a Philadelphia Flyers fan, but the Philadelphia Flyers finished 21-7, which was good for second in the Metro. I think there's a very big surprise that they're here at second in the Metropolitan. So who do you think kind of propelled them to where they're at?
So I have their number one point getter, Travis Konecny, who had 24 goals and 37 assists. And then another guy, who I'm going to mention again as a goaltender, is Carter Hart. And he had a 2.42 goals against average and 914 save percentage in 40 games started this season. And he had 24 wins. So obviously he was their leading goaltender.
Next Binnington?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thanks for doing that. But whatever. He could make a big impact for this team if he's playing good hockey and good goaltending. So yeah, if their top point getter is playing good and their goaltender is playing good, I feel like they have a good shot of making a deep run.
Absolutely. I like for sleepers their big free agent acquisition this offseason, Kevin Hayes.
Kevin
If
Hayes.
any of you guys watch Ben Chicklets, you need to watch Kevin Hayes' interviews with Ben Chicklets. Kevin Hayes, hit us up. He wants you here. 23 goals this season, but he is kind of known as that defensive forward, so I think that's huge to have your defensive forward score 23 goals for you this season. And as well, this is a breakout season for one Sean Couturier. If you don't remember Sean Couturier, he was kind of slated to be the number 1 overall pick in his draft year, but that turned out to be Nathan McKinnon. So that worked out for the best
Not
of
too
him.
bad.
You haven't seen Sean Couturier reach his full potential yet in the NHL. I think he did this season with 22 goals and 37 assists. So he finally shown out to what big name player he could be. But key losses for them quite possibly could be their number 2 overall pick a couple drafts ago, and Nolan Patrick has been dealing with some migraine disorder. So he has missed a lot of this season due to the migraine disorder. So I don't know if you'll see him play in the round robin. Definitely not the exhibition game, I think. But since they finished second in the Metro, and you don't really see a whole lot of teams with a 20 games above 500 to get out in the first round, where do you think they're slated to finish off? And
So I think in the round robin they'll finish. I don't want to see them finish fourth, but I feel
that's
like
where they're slated to finish if there was the on point right now.
Exactly. So
That's where it'd be.
they finish fourth in like the round robin tournament. I don't want to see them finish there, but if they did, let's say they did, they'd be playing Montreal or Pittsburgh, and playing Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. That's a like for Pittsburgh. That's a rivalry that Pittsburgh has dominated for quite a while now. So I think that
No fans though.
Pardon?
No fans.
No fans. I know. That's a huge impact. So I say them getting to that second round.
Yeah, I think so too. I think their D is kind of in question. I don't know if that's the strongest part of their game. I know you have Shane Gostisbehere, I know you have Ivan Provorov. That's about it. I don't think it's very far deep past those two. With all due respect to the Philadelphia Flyers defenseman core, but I think if they had a stronger D core, I think they would make it further. But I don't know if they make it out of the first round. But I think 20 games above 500 is kind of too hard to ignore. So, but realistically, second round, I think they'll be out in the first round. But probably the team that Canadians are kind of hoping to bring back a cup north of the border is the aforementioned Edmonton Oilers, who finished 37-25-9, which was good for second in the Pacific Division. So obviously you're going to nail McDavid for your Money Malcolm's money picks. You just have a lot of fair with them. But who else do you have with playing alongside McDavid.
Oh, it's the 1-2 punch, Leon and McDaddy. These guys have been playing stellar hockey. Leon up for the Ted Lindsay Award you saw today against McKinnon and Panarin. And then even McKinnon saying that, McKinnon was saying that Panarin should win it, but still Leon Draisaitl, 110 points this season, 43 goals, 67 assists. McJesus had 34 goals and 43 assists. So both of them playing amazing hockey. It's just crazy to see these two guys play together. And then another guy who's kind of a sleeper pick for me is Oscar Klefbom on the D-line. And he only had 5 goals, but he also had 29 assists, and he was up there with...
He didn't play much this year, though.
Exactly. He only played 62 games, so he didn't play as much as everyone else. But I feel like if he did play and continues to play some good defense, I'm talking more defense here than offense, then I feel like they have a good chance because they can rely. They have some guys to put the puck in the back of the net on their forward line there. So I feel like if they put good defense in front of their goaltenders who have been okay for most of the season, then they have a good chance to maybe go a few rounds.
Yeah, sleeper picks for myself is finally broken out for that number 1 overall pick potential. It's the Nuge, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who's got 22 goals and 39 assists this season. Finally established himself in the league as the number 2 center. Great to see him finally get out there and break out. Doesn't have to be that number 1 guy like he was slated to be. So then obviously McDavid and Draisaitl as those 1-2. And as well, D-line on the defense is your rookie Ethan Bear, who's got 20 points. Oilers pick. And I think with the loss now of Mike Green, who's going to be opting out of this play-in format playoffs, that Ethan Bear will to step up his game as well, like you said, Oscar Klefbom and Darnell Nurse, who we haven't mentioned, but he's got to step up his game. So those 3 are being really, really relied on. And as well, the deal that a lot of people kind of hate now in Edmonton is that Adam Larson trade for Taylor Hall, or Taylor Hall trade for Adam Larson. So those 4 are going to have to make some serious hay.
It was CC for Hall, 1 for 1 stands.
That's okay.
CC for Hall.
Yeah, you can remember that all you want. But expectations for the Oilers after not making the playoffs last season.
I hope they beat Arizona in that qualifying round, get to that second round, that round of 16, and get into this round of 16. Honestly, but obviously a lot of Canadians are relying on this team heavily to make it that cup run. But realistically, I see them maybe getting out of that first round, the round 16, and making it into the second round.
Yeah, I like the second round slate as well for Edmonton again because of shaky goaltending. Very inconsistent.
Yep.
But maybe Mike Smith can turn back the clock, start lighting it up again like he used to do in Arizona. But I think it's going to come down to how much he plays the puck. If not, because he's kind of shaky. He likes to play the puck a lot, but he can't really do that as much as you want to in the playoffs. So hopefully he can just calm it down and play some solid, steady goal. But speaking of steady goaltending, a team needs some steady Freddy, absolutely. It's a team near to my heart and everyone in Southern Ontario. It's the Toronto Maple Leafs, who finished 36-25-9, which was good for 3rd in the Atlantic Division. And who do you have, being a Montreal Canadiens fan? I know it's eating you alive to pick some great players on Toronto.
Well, you got to pick Austin Matthews.
The man who I grow this beautiful, what I like to call caterpillar, but, it's
you name it, everything.
Beautiful.
47 goals, 33 assists. Hard to ignore that.
Should have been 50.
Could have been 50. Who knows? Probably
should have been. Not could have. Should have.
And then John Tavares, who also had 26 goals and 34 assists. Obviously, you kind of have to mention also William Nylander, who is second on the team in goals with 31 goals. But those 2, primarily Matthews and Tavares, they're continuing to play good hockey. Matthew may be recovering from COVID still, so hopefully doesn't infect anyone else and create a cesspool, as you like to say, of COVID. But yeah, so Matthews, Tavares for sure.
Yeah, without naming the whole team, those are just all studs. Sleeper picks for me is Cap Daddy, Kasperi Kapanen, the penalty kill specialist, speed demon, and a much needed toughness and on that forward 12, because a lot of prima donnas and a lot of divas, like everyone likes to call them, and put soft on that forwards. So Kasperi Kapanen brings the body. And as well, they're getting back Soupy, Ilya Mikheyev back. 23 goals in 39 games before that injury was sliced off his wrist. Laceration, I should say. and he will be back for the restart. I don't know. Remember Mikheyev with soup? I like soup. I like soup. Didn't speak a lick of English. How do you like Canada? How you like Canada? I like soup. I eat soup. Legend. But
Weird guy.
expectations for the Buds.
Make it out of the first qualifying round. Nah, I'm kidding. Get to the round of 16 though, and maybe make it out of the round of 16.
They need to make it to the second round.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's been 3 straight years that they've lost in the first round.
Boston.
To their credit, they've probably played the best team in the Eastern Conference every time. Like 2016.
What am I hearing? Excuses?
No, 2017, excuse me. They played the Cup champs, the Capitals. Took them to 6 games.
Am I hearing excuses?
No. 2018, the Bruins should have won that game. It's okay.
Should have, could have won.
And then 2019, you played them again, and lost the Bruins with the Cup final. So this year, they don't see – maybe they do, but they won't see the best team yet in Columbus. But they're slated as the 8th seed. So if everybody – there's no upsets, they'll play the number 1 seed in the first round of the actual Cup playoffs. So depending on how the round robin goes, they might see some tough competition.
Maybe Boston, who knows?
Maybe Boston. Wouldn't that be fucking great?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, but a team that's kind of turned some heads this year in the Western Conference is the Colorado Avalanche, who finished 42-28, which was good for second in the Central, again, stacked Central Division. So who do you have as making some money moves for the Avalanche?
Nathan McKinnon, Ted Lindsay Award finalist, 35 goals and 58 assists with 93 points to finish off the regular season. And then you have Cam Lattimore is going to love this, is Cale Makar.
If he watches it.
If he watches, who knows. 12 goals and 38 assists, rookie this year.
Should be rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year, probably rookie of the year. But these two guys, obviously, they star defenseman in Cale Makar already as a rookie, and he's just turning heads, like you said, this whole team is. And then Nathan McKinnon's just Nathan McKinnon. He's still so young, and he's playing, like you said, 26, 27-year-old. So it's good to see these two guys play some good hockey, and I'll you get with your sleeper picks because this team has some good depth, in my opinion.
Absolutely. They have the former Capitals player Andrei Burakovsky, who's got 20 goals and 25 assists, which was good for third in team points behind the two mentioned players, like you've already said, in McKinnon and Cale Makar. Just like to put in perspective, Cale Makar is second on this team in points, and he's technically a rookie.
Yeah, that's why.
So I think that superstar status, if you ask me.
Yeah. For 100%.
They also added the former Leaf Nazem Kadri in the Tyson Barrie trade, who's got 36 points this season, and he's going to bring some playoff experience to a very, very young Colorado team and some very much needed grit to play alongside a huge defenseman in Nikita Sidorov can throw his body around us no problem. So hopefully he can keep it together and play a full series without getting suspended. Being a Leafs fan, we kind of did that all too well. So expectations for the Avs playoffs.
They're my sleeper pick to win it all. I think they have the capability of winning it all. Their goaltending has to be up to par as well, and they have Philip Grubauer, if I'm not mistaken, and then they have Frank Kuz, who's also been playing some good hockey. He has maybe 30-some games played this season as well, split the games with Grubauer. So if they're both playing good and their whole team, who has a lot of depth, is playing good, I think they can make a good shot at the Cup final.
Yeah. Again, my only knock on them was that they don't have very steady goaltending. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see them make the conference finals. I would like to see them make – realistically, I think it's the second round. I'd like to see them make the conference finals. So anything past the second round for me, I think is a pleasant surprise. I think their goaltending needs to be much better. But again, maybe they can outscore teams. Mikko Rantanen had an off-par season off of a 40-goal season last year. Still have Gabe Landeskog. Hopefully McKinnon can carry them past another team like he did with Calgary.
Yeah.
But the team has really turned it on since the All-Star break as those Broadway bullies, I like to call them, the New York Rangers, who finished 37-28-5, which was good for 7th in the Metropolitan Division. So who do you have that really pushed them to where they are right now?
Another Ted Lindsay Award finalist announced today.
The Gridman.
Artemi Panarin, who had 32 goals and 63 assists. Not too shabby, if you ask me. And another guy, former Ottawa Senator, this guy actually took a slap shot against me in camp one year, a long time ago when he was a rookie with the Senators, just drafted. I had to like duck out of the way because I thought I was gonna die. Mika Zibanejad, who also had 5 goals this year in a game, 41 goals on the year and 34 assists. 41 goals, I think that goes a little bit unnoticed. No one's really talking about how Zibanejad put the puck in the back of the net this year. So it's a nice surprise that they made it into the play-in round. But they're going to have to face Carolina, which will be, I think, another great series.
Very good series.
Yeah, so you don't know who's going to win that one. So I say getting into the round of 16 would be you go with your sleeper picks first. But I'm going to say
perfect.
Yeah, say your sleeper picks first because you have a few here.
Absolutely, because I think it's kind of goes unmentioned about how good the Rangers have been since the All-Star break. And Adam Fox, the rookie defenseman, breaking out with 40 points in his rookie year. It's going to be an absolute stud in this league, probably a bona fide All-Star the next couple of years. As well as Anthony DeAngelo is coming off. Started off with a 53-point season. It's kind of didn't really think that he was going to be pulling up 53 points this year. If you ask anybody who was a Rangers fan, I kind of thought he was the 7th defenseman coming in to the Rangers camp this year. And somebody who Oilers fans right know very well is Ryan Strome, who's quietly got up to almost 60 points, which is fantastic. And somebody who you probably praise as being a goalie who's kind of come out of nowhere, almost like the Andrew Hammond for the New York Rangers, is Igor Shesterkin.
Well, if he's a Hammond.
Record. Yeah.
If he's a Hammond, that's a one-season wonder.
He might be.
Yeah.
But for how much he's propelled this team to get to the position they're in, like Hammond did with Ottawa to make the playoffs, got a 10-2 record that kind of helped put the Rangers into the play-in series rounds.
What happened with Hammond in the playoffs? Oh, that's right. They lost to the Montreal Canadiens that year, so not a big deal again. I don't forget that type of stuff.
They win the cup?
Huh?
They win the cup, Montreal?
No, they didn't win the cup. It was the last time. You know when the last time the Maple Leafs won the cup?
Hey,
Will Ferrell was born. When the last time
Will Ferrell's old.
Exactly. That was the last time the Leafs won the cup. So
well, I got a fever, and that prescription is for more cowbell and more Leafs cups. But expectations for your New York Rangers to see how far they can make it.
Make it into the round of 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I think they can because New York was 4-0 against Carolina this year in the regular season, but we all know that the playoffs is a whole different ballgame. So hopefully they can rekindle their luck that they had with Carolina being undefeated in the regular season. But Vancouver Canucks, we have are up next with 36-27-6 record, which was good for 4th in the Pacific Division. So who do you like to keep rolling for the good seasons they've had?
JT Miller, who had 27 goals and 45 assists, so he moved the team in points with 72. And not a lot of people are talking about JT Miller. And then a lot of people are talking about this guy and saying he wouldn't be where they are. The Canucks wouldn't be where they are without this guy, is Elias Pettersson, who had also 27 goals and then 39 assists. So rookie sensation. Oh, was he a rookie this year? Or was he last year? Why am I? It was last year. So he's a sophomore year. Feels like he's still a rookie. I don't know why.
Well, look at the baby face, man. All the Swedes.
Yeah, I know. So, but Elias Pettersson, so him being here this year, I agree that they wouldn't be where they are without Elias Pettersson. It was kind of crazy though when you saw him last year get compared to like Wayne Gretzky with his slap shot. It's kind of whack. But still, these two guys have been playing great hockey and putting the puck in the back net, working well together and working well with their teammates. So these two guys for sure are X factors for the Canucks.
Yeah, sleepers for myself is defenseman, young stud in the making, Quinn Hughes, who's got 53 points in his first full NHL season. Obviously, he played only 7 games last year for Vancouver, but he's up again for Rookie of the Year alongside Kel McCarr. So you got 2 young studs that are going to be the face of the defense for the NHL, I'm sure, in the next couple of decades to come. And as well, Jake Virtanen finally breaking out with 18 goals, 18 assists. One of the most underrated shots in all of the NHL, and Jake Virtanen. So obviously, I'd love to see him show up with 18 goals. Again, he's not playing top 6, so big ups to the kid. No losses for them post-COVID, post-quarantine, I guess if you want to call it. So expectations for them to see how far they make it.
So they're playing Minnesota in the play-in round, and I feel like they'd beat Minnesota. Just that's my opinion. So I think they make it to the round of 16. But all these top 4 teams who are like these playing teams are gonna have to face are pretty good teams. So it's depending, and they're gonna have to face the number 2 seed, depending on who they play, depending on who like finishes in the round robin. And I, in my opinion, I see like maybe Colorado or Dallas winning that number 2 seed, and the other one finishing that number 1 seed. So either one, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Canucks. So if they do get out of the round of 16, that'd be a pleasant surprise. But I see them getting into the round of 16 and losing in the first round.
I like them to make the second round. Just hopefully, if this still works out, because they are playing behind an All-Star this year, Jacob Markstrom. So hopefully he
Yeah.
can continue his hot play and hopefully stay loose during quarantine. So if Markstrom can keep up his hot play, and as well, you have Tyler Myers in that back end defense along with Troy Stetcher. So hopefully, if they can keep their defense solid, because obviously they're proven scorers in the offensive side of the puck with Tanner Pearson, you added Tyler Toffoli, trade deadline. So if they can keep the puck out of the net, I like them making it to the second round. I'm sure you've been waiting for this team the whole night. Is the Montreal Habitants, Montreal Canadiens, who finished 31, 31, and 9. Kind of pathetic, but is fifth in the Atlantic Division. So who do you have besides the whole team that are X factors?
Carey. So Carey Price has played 58 games this season, which is kind of insane. The season's not even over, and he's played 58 games. His numbers aren't the best. He had a 279 goals against average and 909 save percentage. But he's that guy who can just go in and steal a series if he wants to. He's that guy who can go in the bank and be like, give me money, no hesitation. The people at the bank tellers be like, okay, and there's no hesitation, okay? So he's just that one guy who can just go in and steal a series. So I think he's going to be a complete X factor. Everyone knows this. Another guy is Thomas Tatar, who was the only player above 50 points on the team, was 61, and he's been lighting it up. So he had 22 goals and 39 assists. And then another one, my favorite player on the team, honestly, other than Carey Price, is Brendan Gallagher. And he had 22 goals and 21 assists this season. I feel like he's a consistent 20 goal scorer for this team. So if he continues to play, continues to be scrappy, the whole team continues to play well together, and it's such a young team now, they can go far, honestly. Okay, who are your sleepers, buddy? Oh, your one sleeper.
I'm not sleeping. I'm snoring on the Montreal Canadiens.
No,
I'm snoring.
your one
On the
sleeper,
Montreal
your
Canadiens.
defenseman here. I like that pick.
Yeah.
He's very good as
Jeff
well.
Petrie, if I'm going to name sleepers from Montreal, it's Jeff Petrie. 40 points this year. Honestly, I think he's the most underappreciated player in all of the NHL. This is coming from a Leafs fan. So all the praise in the world to
He
Jeff
actually
Petrie.
is. Yeah.
Plays against the best players in H team every night, all the time. Doesn't get any breaks. And he still puts up great numbers at 40 points. And as well, the super wicked goal scorer back in the day, and probably still is.
He's on the team anymore.
Go. What?
He got traded. There was a trade to I forget where, but I'm most certain he didn't get traded because I was cheese. We always bring in these Russian guys, Alexander Radulov, and then just trade them away. So yeah, he's not on the team anymore.
I think he is. Ilya Kovalchuk has been red hot since his move to Montreal with 22 games. He's got 13 points. Now you can Google it, but still, if he's on there, he's an X factor. But key losses for Montreal is already been said that Carl Alsner will not be playing for the Canadiens, and possibly Max Domi due to him being diagnosed with diabetes.
He's on the Caps. So
probably won't be seeing him play, I don't think. But I think it'd be a pleasant surprise for the Canadiens.
He was on the roster they announced today, like on the roster they're bringing into play, and Max Domi was there, but he is like one of the most susceptible people, like to get COVID, so he still has his right to not play, and I respect that. Like it'd be a horrible loss if he didn't come, but you kind of respect their health first. And Ilya Kovalchuk is on the Washington Capitals. They traded him for like some draft picks this year.
So how stupid Montreal is. Should have kept him. Should have kept him. It's not like he was getting paid big money.
They should have.
Like, not like he was getting paid big bucks.
Exactly. And expectations, you can jump right into that. They win against Pittsburgh in 5.
No, they're not.
Then they play the number 4 seed. So that would be Philadelphia. They get their redemption from 2010 after Philadelphia beat them to get into the Cup final against Chicago and lost the Cup final. So they beat them. And then in the third round, they win whoever that is because they're just rolling hot. Carey's just playing amazing. They make it to the Cup and win it all.
So we're going to go off the Molly for a second here, and I'm going to say that they're going to make it. They're going to be very lucky to make it past Pittsburgh. So I would like them to see if they make it to the first round of the Cup playoffs, probably a very, very pleasant surprise for a team
Pleasant
that was
surprise.
not looking like they were making the playoffs with a 500 record. Right? Right.
Nope. Wrong. Incorrect. Sorry.
So we're moving on before he gets too out of control. The team that finished fifth in the Central Division was the Nashville Predators with a record of 35, 26, and 8. So who do you like on this team to help them propel themselves to get the chance to raise the cup?
Their leading point getter, which was a defenseman in Roman Josi, with 16 goals and 49 assists. So he continues to play good defense and offense. Then that's something that you gotta look out for. And something that's surprising many is probably not that Pekka Rinne is not really the number one guy anymore in Nashville, and it's usually Saros. And he played 40. He started 34 games this season, just one behind Pekka Rinne, and he had a 270 goals against average and 914 save percentage. It's not like amazing numbers, but they're better than when you compare them to Pekka Rinne's, which was 3.1 goals against average and an 89.5 save percentage. So you put in Saros there, I feel like you'll be able to muster out a few wins and get some wins. But let's say he starts performing bad, Pekka Rinne comes in, he needs to prove something, and you put him back in there. I feel like your goaltending is going to be really good for Nashville.
Yeah, I honestly I would like to see Rinne back in the playoffs just from a respect standpoint because how much he's carried this organization, and then making the Cup final in 2016.
Should have won.
Should have.
Won
Oh,
one.
that's tough. But sleepers for myself, I like Nick Bonino, 35 points this season. Great two-way center, big face-off guy. So I think he'll be a very good player to have come playoff time. And as well, the good kid over here, just from Freelton, Ontario, just down the road from myself, for me, is Ryan Ellis, who's got 38 points this season. Finally established himself in Nashville's top 4, possibly top 2, depending on who you ask. So Ryan Ellis is back in the prize. So expectations for Nashville finishing 5th in the Central really weren't kind of on the outside looking in the playoffs.
I'd say getting into the second round would be like a good success for them.
Yeah, I don't see them making it out of the first round. Just I hope their stars need to show up big time. Like Arvidsson, Victor Arvidsson has not had the best season. Don't think he's scored. Don't think he's got over 30 points this season. So again, you don't hear Philip Forsberg's name anymore. You don't hear Kyle Turris anymore. Matt Duchene has had a very good year, but again, he's not really playoff material. Obviously, last season with Columbus was a different story. But I think you need your stars to show up big time if you want to make it far in the playoffs, at least this season.
Si, senor.
Well, we're going to throw the Spanish flair. Thanks, Malcolm. For the next team is the Washington Capitals, finishing 41-20-8, which was good for first, again, in the stacked Metropolitan Division. So minus Ilya Kovalchuk, thanks for pointing that out. Who else do you like on the team to make a huge impact?
Well, obviously you have your like Norris Trophy candidate, probably winner. John Carlson with 15 goals, 60 assists this season, led the team in points. Surprising, but not really at the same time. You kind of expected him to do that after the seasons that he had in the past. You also have Alexander Ovechkin with 48 goals and 19 assists, so he's just putting that puck in the back of the net. You have another one, kind of a sleeper pick, is Jacob Vrana with 25 goals and 27 assists. And I feel like
very underrated Shell 20 player, by the way.
Yeah, very underrated NHL real life player as well. Not a lot of people are talking about him. So I feel like these three playing well, and then you have Nicholas Backstrom as well. You get into that.
Yeah, I was straining my breath here. Sleepers for me, Nick Backstrom. I think he's kind of the heartbeat of that team. I think he's had been for a very long time. I think he must be successful. First team to be successful in the playoffs. I think you saw it. I saw it firsthand when they saw the Leafs in the playoffs in the first round. Like the way he moves with the puck and how it's like poetry in motion. Sets up Ovechkin every time for those one-timers. He's got a silky mitts.
Only 12 goals this season, Backstrom.
Okay, he's a facilitator.
22 assists, yeah.
Exactly. And as well, you got the Goon, Tom Wilson. But he's more of a complete season this year. He's got over 20 both goals and assists. So he's more of just an agitator. Blake Marchand is kind of elevating his game to a higher level. So expectations for the Caps.
Conference finals.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's as far as anything can go. Like you can't waste a 75-point season as a defenseman. John Carlson, you can't waste a 48-goal season like you usually do with Ovechkin minus 2017. So the Caps are good at doing that. So I like to see them make the conference finals, like you said. So I think the team's just too good. Team's just too good.
2018, Caps won.
But the team they faced off in the Cup final was the Vegas Golden Knights with a 39-24-8, which was good for first in the Pacific Division. Just for everybody who said that they would fall off after their Cup final run, yeah, nice.
Nice job, guys. You were wrong.
Exactly. So your picks for them to see how far they make it in the postseason?
So your former Montreal Canadian who was devastated when this happened, but not at the same time because you got Thomas Tatar out of it and some other key players with Nick Suzuki, blah, blah, blah. But it's Max Pacioretty with 32 goals and 34 assists this season, leading the team in points, which is, I don't think a lot of people expect them to lead the team in points, with 66. And then you also have Riley Smith, who was second in the team with goals just behind Pacioretty with 27 and had 27 assists to match that. So he had 54 points total. Both of them. Riley Smith has been playing great hockey the past few seasons. Ever since the Golden Knights came into existence, Riley Smith has been one of those guys who's always been consistent for them, in my opinion. So I feel like if he continues to be consistent, along with Max Pacioretty and some other key players on this team, they'll make another maybe deep run in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I like the team is Shea Theodore, defenseman, 46 points as a defenseman. How are ya? Pretty good season, if you ask me. Solid decor you have there in Vegas alongside Nate Schmidt, I like as well. And as well, two-way forward Paul Stastny coming from Winnipeg. 17 goals, 21 assists. Like I've already mentioned, great two-way player. I think Vegas has a lot of those, actually. They added Mark Stone, not to ruin your Ottawa fans here. Mark Stone is on this team as well, getting paid big bucks. So hopefully he can make an impact in the playoffs. So where do you like to see them finish off in the playoffs?
I'd say the third round.
Conference finals.
Is that the conference finals? Yeah, I'd say the conference finals for sure.
Absolutely.
Because
so where did they finish last
team.
year? They finished off in the second round last year, lost to San Jose.
Yeah.
Yes. That was a great series, too.
That was a very good series.
Cody Eakin, how are you? Knocking out Pavelski kind of cost you the series, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see them make it to the conference finals, too. I think this team, again, is too good. Marc-Andre Fleury is kind of rounding down his end of the career. But, again, still playing good hockey, so maybe he has a couple more years left in the tank. But I think a team that surprised a lot of teams again this year after what they finished off last year with the conference finals run is the Carolina Hurricanes, who finished 38-25-5, which was good for fourth in the Metro. So who did you like that kind of carried the momentum from last season?
Sebastian Aho, which is
could have been a
crazy.
Canadian.
Yeah, could have been. But yeah, he had 38 goals and 28 assists. 38 goals. That's kind of crazy to think about Sebastian Aho, but he's been good the past few seasons as well, like along with many other players in this team. But I'm going to get into the goaltending again. And another goaltender that I really, really like is Peter Mrazek, ever since he was on the 67s here in Ottawa. This year, he didn't put up great numbers. He put up 269 goals against average and a 905 save percentage. But again, you have that other guy in James Reimer who can kind of maybe back him up.
Oh, David Ayers.
Or David Ayers. But you have James Reimer who had put up a bit better numbers in around the same number of games with 266 goals against average, a slightly better 914 save percentage. But I feel like Peter Mrazek is still young enough where he's able to develop his game and stay as a strong number one. And James Reimer, obviously, on the back end of his career. So if Peter Mrazek stays healthy and stays good and plays good goaltending, maybe a few shutouts here and there, then I think they can make a pretty decent run, not like a far run, but a decent run in the playoffs because they're a good team. A lot of depth, in my opinion.
I like grade story on James Reimer. We were in grade 6. This is when James Reimer was just starting back up with the Leafs.
Yeah.
I'm like being super, super hot. And my really good buddy Ethan McBrain watched the podcast. Shout out. It's the whole class. James Reimer is the best goalie in the league. Denies it to this day, but we still razz him for it. But just like a big screw you to your Canadians for kind of ruining James Reimer's career. I can't remember. The blind side. Yeah. The elbow.
Yeah,
After
the
since
injury.
then, derailed his career. Ever since that hit. But we stick with Carolina with the sleepers. Dougie Hamilton, I think, he's finally found a home in Carolina after shifting from team to team from Boston to Calgary. Finally found a home in Carolina. He's got 40 points this season to go with a plus 30 plus minus rating, which is unbelievable. And I think it's finally nice to say it's a breakout season for Andrei Svechnikov. He's got
Yep,
24 goals, 37 assists. No sophomore slump for him. Scored that ridiculous lacrosse goal, if you don't remember that. But
nasty.
this decor in Carolina is to one to be reckoned with. You have the aforementioned Dougie Hamilton, you have Brett Pesce, you have Jacob Slavin, and you have Jake Gardner, which is a very solid top four. So with that being said, what are your expectations for the Hurricanes coming off the Eastern Conference Finals last season?
Round of 16. Got because that same thing with the Rangers. That series is gonna be so good that whoever makes it out of there alive, it's great that they make it into the round of 16. I think Carolina is a better team in my opinion. So hopefully, I want them to make it out of that playing round. But I feel like if they get into that round of 16, then it's a blessing for them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that Carolina's the better team, but they just don't have the best luck against the Rangers this year. Again, they're losing all four games that they played against the Rangers, so I think it'll be a
Yeah,
very good success to get past that hump against New York, but I don't know if they'll make it past the first round, like you said, so I like that prediction with them making this the last 16. But a team that I don't think is, again, just blessed to be in this play-in round is the Minnesota Wild with a 30, again, kind of surprising 35-27-7 record for how much kind of bad publicity they've had this year, which was good for sixth in the Central. So who do you have making some serious moves for the Wild to kind of change some heads here?
coming over from Nashville is Kevin Fiala, 23 goals and 31 assists, led the team in points. The only player above 50 points with 54. And then also Zach Parise, who is the leading goal scorer with 25 goals and 21 assists. Zach Parise obviously been in the league for a while, and he's still continuing to lead his team in goals and getting those goals. So we have a veteran player who's leading these guys, uh, continue to leading these young guys, a few young guys on this team to create some more opportunities. If he's able to do that, then I feel like they'll have maybe a good chance, but it'll kind of be tough in the position that they're in to make it over that first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the only one sleeper I have on this team is Matt Zuccarello coming over from the Rangers. Brings the playoff experience that this team severely needs, in my personal opinion. Only has 37 points, but I think his more luck or presence is more valuable than anything right now. But I think as far as Minnesota needs to go, I think their goaltending needs to follow. So get Devin Dubnyk have to stand on his head to make them go past the play-in round. So expectations, like you said, I think it's gonna be a very big blessing to get them out of the playoff play-in round.
Yeah,
And the
100%
first
agree with
round
that.
is the definite plus for them.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have the New York Islanders, who finished 35-23-10, which was good for sixth in the, again, stacked Metropolitan Division. So who do you have making some serious moves for the Isles?
Young gun Matt Barzal led the team in points, 19 goals, 41 assists, 60 points this season. I have two more. Go Brock University, Brock Nelson, who had 26 goals and 20 assists. He was tied with this other guy who I'm going to mention is JG Pajot. Pajot against the Habs, scored the hat trick, hit that. But he had 26 goals as well and 16 assists. So if these three guys, well, if Brock and Pajot keep up their goal scoring ability, which will kind of be tough, but it's totally possible. And then you have Matt Barzal continuing to just beat Matt Barzal, then they have a serious chance of making it out of that playing round.
Absolutely. My sleepers for myself is the numbers two center on that roster is that Anthony Beauvillier, who's got 18 goals and 21 assists. Had a great playoff last year against the Penguins, and as well your defensive juggernaut, not really defensive team, my personal view, is Ryan Pollock, who's had a great year for the Isles, 20 goals and 25 assists as a defenseman. And a team not really known for having star-studded defensemen this season has big numbers. So expectations, like you said, for the playoffs for the Islanders. Who do you like? How far do you like them going?
I think that they could beat Florida
Absolutely.
out of the playing round for sure, and they'd be playing the number 2 seed of whoever wins the round robin. So that's a team looking to shape it up to be like maybe like Washington or Tampa Bay. So it's going to be tough with the team that they have to beat a Washington or Tampa Bay. Like you said, Tampa Bay is kind of going to have to make that cup final, and Washington, the same thing. I can make the conference final with the team that they have and how good their teams are playing. So I see them getting to that round of 16, but not playing in the second round.
Yeah, I just think it's hard to count out a Barry Trotz coach team just because of how great of a reputation Barry Trotz has. A very defensive-minded coach, so I think it's hard to count them out. Obviously, I think they're going to beat Carolina. They're going to beat Florida.
Yeah.
But I think they could shock some heads and make it to the second round. But I think a first round play-in would be a success for them. We're down to our last 2 teams, and the last Canadian team on the list is the Winnipeg Jets. Finished 37-28-6, which was good for 4th in the Central Division. So who do you like that's really pushed their envelope to make this team there right now?
So the 2 guys who lead the team in points, they're tied with 73 points. First guy is Mark Scheifele. That's the obvious pick. 29 goals and 44 assists. Coming off a great season, shorter season, and then an very underrated season coming from young gun Kyle Connor with 38 goals and 35 assists. I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about how good Kyle Connor is. I know me and like a few friends have been talking about how good he's been last season, the year, and then this year, and he's just been lighting it up. So Kyle Connor making great moves, and obviously I'm going to name another goaltender and call it Connor Hellebuck, the weirdo freak with his eyes in warm up. But 2.57 goals against average and a 19.2 save percentage. He's one of those guys he's like a Carey Price who could steal a series, honestly, if he stands on his head and is playing his best game. So they could make it far. They're playing Calgary right in the playing round. So if he's playing his best hockey, then I think they can muster out that playing round against the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, my sleepers for myself, I like Jack Roslovic, who's got 12 goals and 17 assists. Could fly under the Raiders at second line center because, much of the intention's going to go towards the top line, Scheifele, Connor, Wheeler. So maybe Roslovic gets some extra playing time. And as well as Josh Morrissey, who I think needs to be successful for this team to be successful. The defense was kind of the knock on this team coming into this season. Obviously losing Dustin Byfuglien to some terrible circumstances, whether they be contract disputes or the way they his ankle injury. As well, you lost Tyler Myers and you lost Jacob Trouba. So that's arguably your best 3 defensemen that you've lost. So Josh Morrissey needed to step up in a big way. So he needs to prove that he was the guy to bank on. And again, like you said, Hellebuck is probably going to be the make it or break it for this team. So if he can stay on his head, maybe they'll make it past Calgary, but it'll be tough. So with that being said, expectations for them to see how far they make it.
Second round. I feel like second round would be good for them. Honestly, they have that potential to make it farther, but I realistically don't see them making it that far.
Yeah, I think the D's too weak. Again, knock on a lot of teams this year is the D's really weak. You have Neil Pionk on this team. You have Morrissey, Sammy Niku, who's got a good young player. But I think Calgary's going to be a tough team to beat. So I think just making it to the first round will be great. We're down to our last team now, the team that beat everybody except the St. Louis Blues in the Stanley Cup playoffs is the aforementioned Boston Bruins, who was 44-14-12, which was good for first in the Atlantic and first in the league overall. So they're pure President's Trophy winners. Only team with 100 points this year. So who do you have that really pushed their envelope to be in the only team to reach the century mark?
It's like the names that you kind of have to say. David Pastrnak, 48 goals, 47 assists, 95 points this season. Can't not talk about how good he is. Montreal was also 1 pick away from drafting him in his draft. And I'll tell you this story. Montreal had a little contest on Twitter, Instagram, or something like, DM us who you think is going to get drafted in the first round by Montreal Canadiens, and we'll give you, it was either like Stanley Cup tickets or something like that. I did some research. I was like, okay, blah, 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 look, okay. And I said, okay, it's looking like David Pastrnak. That's the guy they need right now. I'm like, okay, I sent in David Pastrnak. See, Boston's 1 pick above him. They take Pastrnak off the board. Montreal picks like Jacob de la Rose. I was like, are you kidding me right now? So David Pastrnak is just an X factor for this Boston Bruins team. Has been, will be for a very long time. And then you also have Brad Marchand, like you mentioned before, who's making a name for himself more than a goon right now. 28 goals, 59 assists, and 87 points this season. And then you have your goaltender, who's also just been your franchise goaltender, Tuukka Rask, with a 2.12 goals against average and a 9.29 save percentage. It's just phenomenal. Like, I hate to say it because I hate the Bruins, but this team's insane. This team is disgusting.
Rask for Raycroft, baby.
Yeah.
Big Leafs, big Leafs front management. Those are good on you.
Yeah.
Well, sleepers for myself, I don't know if you can really call these guys sleepers for how good they've been, is Torrey Krug. Leagues the defenseman in points with 49, as well in a contract year. So I don't know if we'll be seeing Krug on the Bruins next year. Thank the Lord. But he's going to get some big cash somewhere, I'm sure. And as well, it's Jake DeBrusk, who's got 19 goals, 16 assists, plays the game super, super hard, got that extra edge. I would love to have Jake DeBrusk on my team. I'm sure anybody who would love to have Jake DeBrusk on this team. But I think this is a championship or bust team. What about you?
That's exactly what I was going to say. You got to get to the cup final at least with this team.
By far.
They're so good. And
they're stacked everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look. Depth on the forwards, depth on the D-man, and a great goaltender.
I hate it. I hate how good they are.
And they can prove themselves. They play well in the playoffs, unlike Tampa Bay. But this wraps it up for the NHL postseason preview. And hopefully you'll be able to see some games quickly, and hopefully everyone can do it safely. And then we could see Lord Stanley's Cup being raised in October. So fingers are crossed.
Yeah.
Prayers are being made. So hopefully it happens. We'll see you guys back for the weekly recap.
Yeah, before we end it off too, just a reminder, we're still doing the NBA 2K1,
Unfinished business, Road to 100.
Exactly, 2K21 giveaway, Road to 100 subscribers on YouTube. So all you have to do is send a picture that you're subscribing to us on Instagram and you're subscribing to us on YouTube and following us on Instagram. Just DM us and you're automatically entered into the draw. We have a handful of people in right now. So we just want to get to that Road to 100. Just keep it up. We've gained.
Unfinished business, Road to 100. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Peace. This episode of Unfinished Business is presented by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free.
There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more.
You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
And it is everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.